Probably everyone who's coastal cruising or taking a charter trip knows not to throw plastic and other trash overboard. But what do you do about food waste? How do you get rid of it to avoid bugs and awful smells? Hello there, I'm Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, I'll share the best practices for getting rid of garbage and keeping it from becoming a nuisance on board before you take it off. Now, today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Mantis Marine, makers of the Mantis Anchor, now available in models with and without a roll bar. Proven to set reliably in the most challenging bottoms, the Mantis Anchor digs in like no other, making anchoring safer and boating more enjoyable. Mantis Marine brings to market practical, durable, and affordable marine products, including their anchoring gear, scuba diving accessories, a rechargeable waterproof headlamp for hands-free lighting, and their newest, a solar charging navigation light. Visit mantismarine.com and see for yourself. It's not pretty. It's not part of the dream. It's garbage. And by garbage, I'm talking about food scraps, not just general trash. So what do you do with garbage on a boat when you're on a short trip, a charter, or you're coastal cruising? Now, I'll admit ocean passages where you may be at sea a month or more are going to require some different techniques. Let's limit this to what you're doing when you're close to shore and periodically stopping. Well, garbage has two main problems. It stinks and it attracts bugs, and possibly even worse, like rodents. In a warm climate, both can happen very quickly. Luckily, putting your garbage in an airtight container solves both problems. I usually have a wide-mouthed jar that's trash itself, and I just put the garbage in it and keep the lid on tight. Peanut butter, mayonnaise, and jelly jars, even things like spaghetti sauce jars, are good candidates. You can also use things like margarine and yogurt tubs, but the lids can be a little bit more prone to pop off, so you have to be careful. Now, if you don't have a suitable jar or tub, I can usually find, say, an old bread wrapper or maybe an old Ziploc bag or something that's already in the trash. Again, I don't like to add anything to the whole plastic trash thing. But the big thing is when you're doing something like that, make sure that the bag doesn't have any holes in it and that you can seal it up tightly. Sometimes, particularly with a Ziploc, crud will get into the zipper ridges and prevent the bag from staying sealed. If it can't stay sealed, you're going to have problems with both the bugs and the stinks. And if, as you're storing things, the container isn't exactly airtight or it comes open, the smell will probably be your first clue. Swarming bugs around it are another sure sign. And when you see something like this or smell it, take care of that problem immediately. No matter how awful it is not going to get better by itself. You don't want a stinky garbage mess to suddenly turn into a stinky garbage mess with a bug infestation. If you've had a problem, it can help to give a squirt of bug spray into the trash can after you've cleaned up any spills. And we always dispose of garbage jars with the rest of our trash when we get into a town or an anchorage that has some sort of a trash service. Some people you'll hear suggest throwing garbage overboard on the grounds that the sea life will eat it or that it's biodegradable. I really, really disagree with that. All you have to do is walk the beach anywhere that garbage is thrown in the water to see the result. Okay, you don't see as much food as plastic, but a lot of that garbage does end up on shore or on the ocean bottom just offshore. Fruit peels, especially oranges, are usually prevalent. I remember snorkeling beautiful reefs in the British Virgin Islands and finding banana peels. That is absolutely yucky. Other times I've seen, piles of coffee grounds. So whatever. Please don't throw your food waste into the water. I hope you found this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast to be useful. If so, make sure that you subscribe so that you'll never miss an episode. And if you'd like to tell your friends about us, that will thrill us too. Thanks.